This is the week 67 update for August 18th through the 24th. I had a low weigh-in for that week of 169.6, which puts me under 170 compared to the prior week, down 0.4 pounds compared to week 66. I am still, or that week I was still abstained from alcohol. I'm a couple weeks behind because right now we're in week 70, I think. So I've completed week 67, 68, and 69. But obviously I will post those later. This video from here, at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about DEXAs. I recorded it a couple weeks ago. I have finally finished editing it. Not that it's that great in editing, but I lost sound from my microphone like halfway through. So this is like the third or fourth time my microphone has done me wrong. And I lost I don't even know what I said. I probably said some good stuff too, but I can't read lips. I never could. So there's no way for me to recreate what was said. So it stops abruptly. So that's why I'm recording this kind of like and putting it in the beginning to sort of explain that it stops abruptly. I tried to fade it out. I did the best I could. I tried to stop it at a point where my voice inflection sounded okay, but nothing really was working. So that's the juice for right now. 169.6 for week 67. And so the rest of this is my opinion on DEXA scans and my experience with them. Are you tired of hearing about DEXA scans yet? I know. We DEXA lovers probably are beating a dead horse, but it just can't be stressed enough. If you are truly committed to your goals, if you are truly done with trying to lose weight, there's no better way to see how well you're doing, to see if how you're eating is actually benefiting you or not benefiting you, see if your suspicions are true, or if this whole, eating healthy and exercising and losing weight and the benefits of a GLP-1, if this is all new to you, no better way to understand you and your body type than to get a DEXA scan. You could lean more towards being an athletic body type where putting on muscle is not that hard for you, or losing fat isn't that hard for you. But you won't know until you know what you're dealing with. How much of the weight that you see on the scale, how much is fat and how much is muscle, and how much is bone, strong bones, because that's what we want as we get older. So let me share with you what has happened to me with my DEXA scans, because this might be a fear that we never get over, is what the scale says, what the DEXA scan says. But also, too, this might help you understand that and really put a visual and a perspective that the scale is not everything. I know you hear it, but this is to help you see that it's true. So let's take a look at my DEXA scans. I'm not going to get super deep into each one. I more want to give you a bird's eye view of the ones that I've had. Now, caveat, I went a 6-month stretch without getting any done, and I regret that fully. If I could do this over again, I would have had a DEXA scan within the first week of me taking the GLP-1, and I would have got one done I would have got one done every single month until I felt like I was completely done. Okay, I'm going to put up the screenshot right here. Let's start with, actually, you need to look at the bottom. So it goes bottom up. So from oldest to most recent up at the top. So if you look at the bottom, July 3rd, 2024 was when I had my first DEXA scan. I started tirzepatide on May 13th, 2024. So July 3rd was the first time I had the DEXA scan. By this point, I am a full 3 weeks into the GLP-1. So I started at 204.6 the week of my first injection, even though I was as high as 207 in recorded history the month prior to that. So let's take a look at all the DEXA scans that I've had done since starting a GLP-1. This does not include the DEXA scans I had in years prior. It's the most recent at the top going down to the oldest. So look at the bottom, July 3rd, 2024. By the time I had this DEXA scan, I was already 8 weeks into taking a GLP-1. So the month before starting a GLP-1, I was 207 pounds. By July 3rd, at this DEXA scan, I was 184, 23 pounds down, or about 20 pounds exactly since starting my first injection. At that point, I was 36% body fat. So it's pretty easy to assume that when I was 204, 207, I don't know, pick a date, I'm sure I was well over 40% body fat. So that's why I regret not getting one done when I first started. So, anyways, yeah, 8 weeks into the GLP-1, I'm down 20 pounds. I'm at 36% body fat. That was my first DEXA scan, July 3rd. By the next DEXA scan, which was a month later, August 8th, I was only down 3 pounds, but I was down almost 3% body fat. Big difference. Now let's move to September. So, about a month and 2 or 3 weeks later, I was only down 6 pounds. Actually, I was down 6 pounds, but my body fat was the same. And this is why. August, I was like, okay, I'm lifting, I'm walking. Maybe I don't want to put on any muscle. Maybe I just want to eat and walk and just get real slim and trim because I naturally hold on to muscle anyway. Well, that backfired because between August 8th and September 24th, I lost, I think it was 2 or 3 pounds of muscle. Yeah. And I was hitting my protein goals pretty consistently. But that was kind of like a decision I made, but it turned into an experiment and an answer to a question I didn't know I needed to ask. And that was, do I benefit more from high protein or from lifting weights or both? And I answered my own question. That September 24th DEXA scan let me know I have to lift weights, period. Period. I don't even have to eat a whole bunch of protein. I just have to lift weights. So September 24th, I had only gone down 0.5% in body fat after 6 weeks of taking my injection every week and, staying away from the things that I should stay away from. And during that time, too, my visceral fat stayed the same. So despite losing weight, losing almost 10 pounds, that July 3rd to September 24th, my visceral fat, which is the fat around the organs, the fat that's not the best, you do need a little bit, but not very much, stayed the same, didn't go down. Now, from September to March, 6 whole months, right? I, on the scale, went from 175 to 168, only 7 pounds. But look, I lost 4% body fat. 4%. Because that was the 7 pound loss, I think, was all fat, no muscle. I didn't lose any muscle at that time. September 24th to March 25th, a whole 6 months without any DEXA scans. I kind of was coasting. I was staying away from alcohol. I was trying to work out, but I put on 2 pounds of muscle. Now, I don't know if I went down in muscle a bunch more because right in between then in January, I got down to 161, but I was quite flabby and squishy, and some body parts were not looking right because I knew I had lost some muscle there. So who knows what happens? That's why I regret not getting one done every month consistently.